Look, Broncos country, I need to be very honest with you right now. Did we win? Yes, but was it pretty? Definitely not. And the worst part is that this wasn't an exception. This is becoming a pattern, folks. And when something becomes a pattern, we need to talk about it openly, without fear of facing reality. The Broncos' Week 6 victory was simply ugly, really ugly. The kind where you watch it, celebrate the final result, but you're left with that bitter taste in your mouth. Because deep down it shouldn't have been that way. And Sean Payton? Man, he didn't hide his frustration. He was direct, no beating around the bush, and kept it real. We're going to be upset about this. Now, before I get into the details of this whole situation, let me ask you a question. Do you think the Broncos are playing at the level they should be? Do you think this team is delivering the best football possible? Think about it, because we're going to break all of this down now. And look, there's good stuff in the middle of all this mess too. There's a guy who deserves all our respect and who is literally saving games for us. But hold on, let's take it easy. First, the naked truth. Denver is winning games, but they're winning ugly. And when I say ugly, it's not that ugly of a scrappy game that happens from time to time. It's that ugly that repeats week after week. It's that ugly that makes you ask yourself, man, what's going on with this team? The truth is that the Broncos aren't managing to beat the good teams. Simple as that. When we face a real team with real talent, the problems all appear at once. And they're not problems that come from the opponent, folks. They're problems we create ourselves. Injuries that could be avoided, completely unnecessary penalties. Execution errors that make you want to scream at the TV. It's like the team shoots itself in the foot every week, but in a different way. One week it's a silly penalty. The next, it's a fumble at a critical moment. Then it's a poorly executed play on third down, and so on. It's constant self-sabotage that's preventing this team from really taking off. Now, there's a good side to this whole equation. And that good side is this. The Broncos have more talent than most of the teams they face. Much more. So even playing poorly, even making mistakes, even doing everything wrong, sometimes pure talent is enough to get the win. That's exactly what happened in Week 6 against the Jets. The Broncos' defense simply dominated the game. Dominated in an absurd way. Folks, 9 sacks. Justin Fields, the Jets quarterback, finished the game with -10 passing yards. You read that right. -10 yards. To give you an idea of how brutal this defensive performance was, Fields lost 55 yards just on sacks. The guy couldn't do anything at all. Every time he dropped back to attempt a pass, Denver's defensive line was all over him. It was a clinic on how to pressure a quarterback from start to finish. But here's the big question. Broncos country, can we count on just the defense all the time? Can we win games just on individual talent when the offense doesn't work? When penalties keep showing up? When mistakes repeat week after week? The answer is no. And Sean Payton knows this very well. That's why he was so tough after the game. Because he knows this team has potential for much more. He knows that with the quality of players Denver has on the roster, these ugly wins shouldn't be happening. The problem is that the Broncos are on an emotional roller coaster. 5 of the 6 games this season ended with a difference of just 1 point. 5. The only exception was the win against the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 4. Other than that, just tight games, heart in hand, suffering from start to finish. This isn't sustainable, folks. You don't build a winning season like this. You don't make the playoffs like this. You don't win championships like this. And everyone in that locker room knows it. Now, in the middle of all this chaos, all this inconsistency, all these problems, there's a guy who's being absolutely sensational. A guy who maybe doesn't get all the attention he deserves, but who is literally saving games for us. And that guy is Will Lutz. If you're real Broncos country, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single play. Because we're going to talk about everything that happens with our team, the good and the bad. Always with the truth first. Will Lutz, people. This name needs to be on every Broncos fan's lips. Because while the whole team is struggling to find consistency, while the offense struggles to produce, while penalties keep showing up, Lutz is there, steady and strong, converting decisive field goals. In the last 2 weeks, he hit a 55-yard field goal and another 57-yarder. For those who don't understand much about football, let me explain. That's really far. These are extremely difficult kicks that require perfect technique, absurd power, and most importantly, nerves of steel. And Lutz isn't just hitting these long kicks. He's being consistent in all aspects. This season, he's 8 for 9 on attempts. And look at this beautiful number. In his entire career with the Broncos, he has 76 converted field goals in 84 attempts. That's a success rate of 90.8%. 90.8%, folks. That's simply exceptional. That's elite level. That's the kind of consistency that wins championships, and there's more. In his third year with Denver, Lutz now has over 90% accuracy, and absolutely all of his attempts over 50 yards this season have been converted. 0 misses on long kicks. Absolute perfection when the team needs him most. Signing Lutz was a typical Sean Payton move. The guy knows Lutz from way back, knows his talent, knows his mentality. And this bet is paying off every penny, because having a reliable kicker in decisive moments can be the difference between making the playoffs or watching from home in January. Think about it. How many times have the Broncos needed a field goal in the final moments? How many times has a game been decided by 3 points or less? Many. And in all those situations, you want to have a guy like Will Lutz on your side. He has the power needed to hit a 60-yard kick if necessary. 60 yards. That's practically half the field. And with the reliability he's been showing, you can sleep easy knowing that if the game gets to that critical moment, Lutz will be there to handle it. And look, folks, let me be very clear here. If Lutz hadn't hit that decisive field goal in the last game, the Broncos would have lost. Simple as that. The score would have been different. The campaign would have been different. And we'd be at 3 wins and 3 losses instead of 4 and 2. So when we talk about important players, fundamental pieces, guys who make a difference, Will Lutz's name needs to be in that conversation because he's doing his part flawlessly while other areas of the team are still trying to find their way. Now, let's talk about what really matters going forward. The Broncos are at 4 wins and 2 losses. Is it a good start to the season? Yes, but is it enough? No, not when you know the potential this team has. Not when you see the mistakes that keep repeating. Sean Payton made it very clear that the team is going to be upset about this situation. And that's good. That's a sign that they're not complacent, not satisfied with winning ugly. They want to play well. They want to dominate opponents. They want to show quality football. The AFC West is starting to heat up, people. The competition is getting fiercer. And the Broncos, for the first time since 2015, have a real chance to fight for the division title. A real chance to return to the playoffs with full force. But for that to happen, things need to improve. The offense needs to find consistency. Penalties need to decrease drastically. Execution errors need to be eliminated. And the team needs to stop shooting itself in the foot every week because, look, having a dominant defense is wonderful. Having a reliable kicker is fundamental. But you don't win championships with just that. You need a functional offense. You need discipline. You need to play complete football for 60 minutes. And when I look at this roster, when I see the talent that's there, I know they're capable. I know this team can play much better than it's playing. The question is, will they wake up in time? Because as the season progresses, there's less room for error. Each game becomes more important. Each win becomes more valuable. And if the Broncos keep winning by 1-point margins, winning through suffering, winning ugly, eventually the luck runs out. Eventually, that field goal doesn't go in. Eventually, that penalty costs the game. Eventually, that silly mistake turns into a loss. And then what? How do you explain to the fans that you had talent but didn't know how to use it? How do you explain that you had a chance but wasted it? Talk to me, Broncos country. What do you think about this? Are you worried about these ugly wins? Or do you think a win is a win, and the important thing is to add points to the standings? I want to know your opinion. The truth is, we're at a delicate moment in the season. The Broncos have proven they can win, but they haven't yet proven they can win with authority. Haven't yet proven they can dominate an opponent from start to finish. Haven't yet proven they're ready to face the conference giants. And when you look to the future, at the schedule ahead, those tough games are coming. You know that at some point the Broncos will need to beat a real team, a title contender, an opponent that won't give room for error. And that's why Sean Payton is mad. That's why he said they're going to be upset. because he knows you can't get to those decisive games playing like this. You can't compete for the playoffs making the same mistakes every week, but there's hope, folks. There's hope because the talent is there. There's hope because the defense is playing at a high level. There's hope because Will Lutz is being sensational. There's hope because Sean Payton is a winning coach who knows how to fix problems. The path exists. The possibility is alive. The dream of returning to the playoffs, of fighting for the division title, of having a special season, all of this is still within reach. But it will only happen if the team wakes up, if the team improves, if the team stops self-sabotaging. And look, when I think about the 2015 season, when I remember that championship team, I know the Broncos have winning DNA. I know this franchise knows what it takes to get there. The question is recapturing that. The question is making this current group understand what's necessary, because having talent isn't enough. Having good players isn't sufficient. You need execution. You need discipline. You need to play as a team, not as a bunch of talented individuals doing whatever they want. And in the middle of all this, in the middle of this search for consistency, in the middle of this fight to play better, there's that guy who keeps doing his job. Will Lutz, quiet, focused, lethal. Every week he's there. Every week he converts. Every week he saves the team when needed. If we make the playoffs, if those decisive January games come, if those moments arrive when every point is worth gold, you'll see how important it is to have a kicker at this level. You'll see how Lutz can be the difference between advancing or going home. So while we demand improvement from the offense, while we demand fewer penalties, while we demand perfect execution, let's also recognize and celebrate those who are doing their part. Let's give credit where credit is due. The season is still long, folks. A lot can happen. A lot will happen. And the Broncos need to be ready, need to be at the top of their game, need to play at the level we know they're capable of, because Broncos country deserves more than ugly wins, deserves more than suffering every game, deserves to see a dominant team, a team that plays beautifully, a team that makes us proud not just of the result, but of how it was achieved. And I believe that can happen. I believe this team can take off. I believe that in the coming weeks, we'll see evolution. Because if there's one thing Sean Payton knows how to do, it's fix problems. It's adjust course. It's make a team improve throughout the season. So let's keep supporting. Let's keep believing. Let's keep being the best fan base in the NFL. Because at the end of the day, folks, that's what it's about. It's about being together in the good times and the tough times. It's about demanding when necessary, but also always supporting. So, Denver Broncos family, what would you do in this situation? If you were Sean Payton, what would be the main focus in practice this week? How would you solve this penalty problem? Comment down below. Hit that like button. Share with friends who are also real Broncos country. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell, because every week we bring you everything about the Broncos. Analysis, news, debates, everything the family needs to know. Until the next video, Broncos country. And remember, even in ugly wins, we stick together. Always.